Good morning, Redland. I am Marilyn Jordan, a member of Redland Baptist Church and a Christ follower. I will be reading my comments to you so as not to go off script and keep my thoughts in order. We all know the command from Jesus Christ to love thy neighbor as thyself. It sounds so good and simple when we say it, doesn't it? When we look at what is happening in our world today, one would think that we've never heard it before. I look back on my years on this earth, and I am all too often totally disgusted with what I see, what I have experienced, and I wonder, will it ever end? Will life on this earth where written laws say I am equal to all others always just be written words on a piece of paper? Will I always encounter inequality, hatred, bigotry, ill treatment, and disrespect? Just a little bit about me. I was born and raised in Oklahoma, not the deep South, but South enough. I went to segregated schools, separate but equal, wink, wink, and enjoyed a pleasant enough elementary and high school educational experience. But from grade 1 through grade 12, I remember that our schools never had new books, and I don't know why that stuck with me, maybe because I ended up being a teacher. We always had books handed down from the white schools. Band instruments were even handed down. Our band uniforms were paid for by parents and churches in the Black community. I was one of my school's 2 accompanists, and I remember how excited we were to get a new grand piano from the white high school when they got a brand new one. Our old piano had notes that stuck, and when playing, we had to remember to make allowances for those keys. I guess that as long as we had a piano, any piano, we were thought to be equal, so we made do. How aggravating it must have been then for those at the white schools when our schools won the majority of state competitions, be it choral, marching band, debates, art, and the like. I remember too that there were specific parts of town we were not to enter unless you had an ID that specified where you worked, usually jobs as a groundskeeper or a maid. And even then, the workers had to be gone by a certain time. There was only one city park we could go to, and of course it was usually in disrepair. It never was reseeded or had new sod placed on it. I remember my dad and a couple of church members mowing the grass and jerry-rigging the park equipment with makeshift parts so kids could continue to come there and play. The year I graduated from high school was the same year Dr. Martin Luther King gave his often repeated "I Have a Dream" speech. And now here it is 57 years later, and people of color are still seeking that same equality and quality of life he spoke of. My life experiences in this country should not be any different than any other citizen, no matter the ethnicity. My freedom should be the same. My protections and penalties under the law the same. We have all witnessed or been made aware of some horrible events that have occurred, and to my dismay, they continue to occur. I read recently this account from a Black father. My daughter is 8. I'm explaining to her about George Floyd. When my son was 6, I was explaining Trayvon Martin. When I was 12, my mom was explaining Rodney King. When my mom was 6, her mom was explaining Emmett Till, and the beat goes on. Church, it's time for the people of God to stand up and be counted as not only hearers of the word, but doers of the word. Jesus did not command us to love only certain people. For example, love only people who wear their hair the way you think they should wear it. Love only people who speak English. Love only people who have a college education. Love only people who support your political choices. Love only people who choose life partners that are different from yours. Jesus commanded us to love one another as we love ourselves, no exceptions. We can no longer shrug our shoulders when we see heinous and murderous acts perpetrated on people of color and say, wow, that was terrible. Sucks to be him or her, and then move on like nothing has happened. As we watch the tragedy of the murder of a human being right before our eyes, it's hard to contain my anger. It's hard to understand why everyone on the planet is not angry, especially those called to be salt in this unseasoned world. There's anger at the police officers involved. There's anger at those who continue to let rogue officers get away with mistreatment of certain people. There's anger at those who continue to deny that racism exists in America. My anger is amplified by those who try to excuse away what is happening as they watch the protests across the globe. I'm sure you've heard it. You may have even said it. Now everyone wants to jump on the bandwagon. When is this stuff going to end? We need to get back to normal. Well, folks, normal isn't working. And hear this, for Black people, it never has. Think about it. This protest is about driving while Black, jogging while Black, sleeping while Black, bird watching while Black, barbecuing while Black, making deliveries while Black, shopping while Black, and then ending up in a pine box. We're talking about inequities in housing, education, employment, healthcare, all done systematically to stifle people of color. As children of God, we're all made in His image. And as such, we should be standing up and speaking up against any and all inequitable treatment of any human being. I have this deeply rooted fear for my grandsons, whom I want to see become grown men with families of their own. I don't want them to be viewed as criminals just because they may choose to wear a hoodie or sport braids in their hair or wear their hair much longer than grandma. I don't want them belittled and ostracized because of their skin color when their white friends can wear hoodies and sport purple, green, and orange hair, and they are innocent until they have been proven guilty of running afoul of the law. If I did not have my faith in God and in His promises, I would no doubt be one bad granny to be reckoned with. But my faith calms me and takes me to the throne to ask God for peace and continued reliance on Him and His word. I also ask what I can do to reassure those around me, both family and friends, to calm their anger and thoughts of retribution. I really want people to understand that it is not enough to retweet and like Facebook posts about police brutality or injustices meted out via our justice system. I want them to keep that same verve when they are around friends, family, and coworkers. Challenge their prejudices and outlandish bigotry. To remain silent is tantamount to your condoning their sin. Even more so, Redland, we need to engage in conversations about racism in this country, be it through grace groups or just with church friends. There are those who want to do better and don't know how. We can learn from each other, but we cannot and should not be afraid to talk about it. We have to be open and honest and willing to face our own sinful natures. As a college professor I once had said, sugarcoating is only good on jelly beans. Thank you for this opportunity to talk with you today.